I think our partnership with Calba has been hugely productive. Calba as a team, they bring some fantastic skilled practitioners to build resilience and capacity in NatureScot as an organisation, and sharing those skills in a collaborative culture, I think, has allowed us to continue to be delivery focused in a way which we wouldn't have been able to do without their support. So I'm Robbie Kernahan. I am the Director of the Green Economy here at NatureScot. NatureScot is the government advisor on all things nature in Scotland. We advise government, local authorities, really about how best to protect, restore and value nature, allowing people from Scotland and all over really to better connect with nature. The key objectives for my director at NatureScot are many and varied. I would maybe highlight how we want to modernise wildlife management in Scotland so it's fit for the 21st century. I would also maybe highlight our role in the planning system to advise how nature needs to be addressed in all planning decisions. And probably also highlighting one of the key areas of my work is to try and transform land use in Scotland. The climate is changing, nature is dynamic, and we need to ensure that nature is actually front and centre in decision making. So that's the key challenge of the role, I think.
I'm Donald Fraser. I'm the Head of Wildlife Management at NatureScot. So the licensing service is one of the functions that we have as a public body. We've got responsibility for about 90 different types of licence. Ranging from species management through to land management. It's an area of expanding work for us, and new legislation that's recently gone through Parliament has extended our licensing provisions. So within the 90 different licence type, we get about 6,000 applications per year. The most significant numbers of those come from gull licences, but also public health and safety and serious damage. So where wildlife is impacting in some way, either on public safety interests or on serious damage, which generally reflects agricultural or woodland impacts. Calba helped us develop our licensing systems, but it's had wider benefits in terms of the organisation's knowledge and ability to implement agile approaches. I guess the more confidence around that going forward in terms of building that capacity, applying that to different projects, but obviously from the licensing project perspective, this is an ongoing piece of work which will go on for a number of years, and while the support from Calba has been there, it's about building our capacity to develop that in the future. I mean, it's been a really constructive process, I think, from our perspective, in terms of having Calba involved, understanding the ways of working, developing the approaches to Agile, the wider learning that has come from that, and the ability to adapt that into our wider work in wildlife management. Change is an inherent part of our business, and the Agile way of working, certainly Agile approaches, really complement that. So they've provided some support to us in terms of coaching for our staff in the process and how that works, and then also provided some support in terms of staff to take forward some of the business analysis, the design, and actually the Agile Delivery function of that to help us support and build capacity. Moving from traditional kind of waterfall techniques to project management to Agile was quite a change, quite a cultural change, and it takes a bit of time for folks to kind of get up to speed with that, get on board with that, understand that.
My name's Paul Main. I'm a Deer Policy Officer for NatureScot, and I've been involved with implementing the Deer online services. Their focus on hitting deadlines and supplying expertise. I mean, there's in DOS there was one specific developer who was particularly helpful in terms of the bridge between our internal and the external resource that Calba brought. I'll be honest, when I signed up for getting involved with this and I saw daily meetings, fortnightly meetings, days booked out for meetings, it filled me with absolute horror. But actually, once you got into it, that constant, not checking up, but constant feedback loop actually kept the focus on delivering what was needed within those 2 weeks and whether you delivered it. And it was, I've likened it to the kind of dopamine hit that when you do sprint review, and we did our sprint review, recorded it, and it was available to the whole organisation to look at. And so when people gave positive feedback, because developers often sit in a room and kind of almost a hoodie up and a towel over their head, whereas them actually getting positive feedback for the presentation of what was the latest process that had been delivered, I think that encouraged people and kind of really encouraged a good teamwork ethic to get things done. I can say no more than, when we did the survey, when it went live, 97% positive feedback from our stakeholders. I'm pretty proud of that. But the most personal one was when we'd got a small group of testers to test the new live system, and he phoned me up and said, "Is that it?" It was such a transformation for him. He was done in 2 minutes, whereas it used to be a sort of 5-page form. And later, one of our biggest customers who had to do an authorization renewal because that was unfit and competent, he phoned me up and said, I'd put aside an hour and a half to do my renewal, and it took me 8 minutes. So when Donald talks about saving time and allowing us to look at compliance, you've also got to look at the benefit for our stakeholders, and they're grateful for that as well because it's less admin.
My name's Mark Keelman. I'm an Agile coach with Calba, and Calba provide a range of services to help our partner organisations discover the success of Agile in delivering value early. Calba's Agile and digital specialists are ready to work with your teams to deliver value early. They help support the teams through knowledge sharing and mentorship, and we have specialists in the range of product ownership, Agile Delivery managers, developers, UX, testers, and even DevOps. Calba were partnering with NatureScot to help NatureScot improve their licensing services. Their licensing services were inefficient, requiring a great deal of admin time from the wildlife officers, which was prohibiting them from doing what they needed to do most, which was compliance around the wildlife and the biodiversity of Scotland. So by working with Calba, we've helped them improve those services, delivering them incrementally, often and early, so they can get value very quickly. And by doing so, not only has it improved the efficiency for the staff time and the costs, but more importantly, allows those staff to get outside in the field to do the compliance work with all those other stakeholders in Scotland who are improving Scotland's wildlife.
In terms of outcomes in our partnership with Calba, we have seen probably over half of our license applications now processed digitally and online, which is a huge success. Because linked to that, we're seeing over 95% customer satisfaction, and probably about a 75% difference in terms of efficiency of licensing time. So real progress being made.